I think the point is, and this is really just to build off of what Carl has said here, again, we've been fed this narrative that says, well, it must have been the case in the 16th century or even in the 17th century that to be Protestant or to be Reformed in particular was completely antithetical with Thomas Aquinas. And as Carl has alluded to, when you look at historical scholarship, it's amazing that Protestants keep believing this, because when you look at the historical work by Protestants, you mentioned Richard Mueller, David Steinmetz would be another one, and so many others. What have they shown? Just by very careful work, getting their hands dirty in the soil and the weeds. Well, it's really clear. To one degree or another, sometimes it's explicit, sometimes it's more indirect. So granted, they do this in different ways and for different reasons, but they are all in some sense engaging with scholasticism, and specifically someone like Thomas Aquinas. Now, there's different contextual reasons why this happened. So very early on in the 16th century, because the polemical tension is so hot with something like justification or purgatory or the papacy, well, that's where the attention is. That's where the attention is. That's where the focus is. But as you've alluded to, they begin to codify their faith and write catechisms and confessions and begin to say, and to receive new challenges, like the Socinians, in which that forces them to not just keep their focus on soteriology or ecclesiology, but then to expand. Well, what do we do now with this new challenge to the doctrine of the Trinity or the deity of Christ or the attributes of God? Well, now suddenly this forces them in many ways to say, well, we of course are going to return to those scholastics who were the sounder ones in order to retrieve their philosophical insights as well as their theological insights, to then even refine those for the sake of a Protestant confession, for example, or catechism.